In this lesson, we're going to learn about probably one of the most famous and trendy motion graphic technique out there, and that is logo motion. Basically, what logo motion is that you're going to take a logo, it's a flat or a 3D shape, and you're just going to animate it, and that's going to be like the business's intro. It's going to be displayed in different sorts of media. And therefore it's in high demand and everyone's looking to make a unique logo motion for their business. So this is a very handy technique, and basically you're going to need this lesson if you're ever going to maybe animate or promote your own business or someone else's. So let's go ahead and make a composition out of our Adobe Illustrator file. I'm going to double click, it's in your resource pack. Just come down here and search import as composition retain layer sizes. Hit OK, and we're going to double click on logo. And we're not seeing anything because they're both in black, so just make a solid underneath, a white solid so we can see. And we're going to bring this below. So this is our logo. If you turn this to full, we're going to see the full quality. Just going to keep it on third so we don't get lag. Going to rename this to BG, stands for background. And basically we have a shape layer and we have a text layer. I kept the text layer like this, but you may need to type it yourself if you want to do certain animations that we've learned so far. So I just left it there just in case you may need it. Alright, so we're going to just turn this regular shape into a more fun, give it a more fun appearance instead of just being there. And we're not going to use the regular animations like position, scale, and rotation because those are just really basic and we want to add a nice, flavor to this logo motion. So we're going to go over a few different techniques that we haven't learned so far, but it consists of the effects that we've worked with until now. So just get this project ready and let's create a logo motion for this. I'm going to create a few logo motions so you have some options when it comes to your own designs. Alright, so we're going to start with the shape. I'm going to turn off text and I'm going to lock my background. Don't want it to move. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is to pre-compose our layer. Let's call this, first change it to move all attributes, turn this off, and we're gonna write shape. Hit OK. Now this is a pre-comp. And now we're going to fill in this pre-comp. So just go over here and type fill in the effects and presets. This is fill. Just drag it on top of the pre-comp. And we're going to change the color to white. I'm going to change and just make a new color. And let's take something like this. Just so we can see things. And it helps if you have a color palette in your composition. I'm just going to bring in this color palette from the liquid motion lesson. You can bring in any color palette you want. And we're just going to bring it in the composition. Just put it in like a corner so you can access it whenever you need to. And let's close this. Just bring it down here. Alright. So I'm going to make another solid and I'm going to choose a color from my palette so everything is nice and organized. Let's choose this purple color. Call this BG. Okay. This is our new background. So now that we have this, I'm going to go to shape and go in the effects control and we're going to choose the color white. Turn this off. We'll bring it back once we need it. I'm going to lock my background. And now we're going to go in shape and go to layer. Come down to auto trace. Then down here, we want to make sure that the channel is alpha. You can just see the drop down and just go on alpha. And make sure it's on current frame. And we're just going to hit OK. So essentially just traced our shape. And if you're not seeing these trace lines, you may have this turned off. So if you're not seeing it, just turn this guy out. And you can see what it did. And basically, we just asked After Effects to trace our shape. If you remember, it was just a flat layer. And now the shapes are traced easily because there's a huge difference between the background and each of the shapes. Now we're going to look for another, let's close this, another effect called Stroke. Bring this on top of shape. And we're going to just turn this guy on, all masked. Turn this off. Come down to paint style and we're going to change it, reveal original image. We're going to increase the brush. You can see it's really tiny. Brush size, let's go for something decent. Just 5 pixels. And we're just going to create a simple animation for the brush size. So we're going to move in a few frames. Let me first adjust my workspace. Let's go for 5 seconds. There we are. Let's go for 2 seconds and we're going to, actually 1 second, that's good. Going to turn on the stopwatch next to brush size. And then we're going to go in the beginning and put this to 0. Hit U on shape and you can see what we did. So we just created these 2 keyframes. We're going to hit F9, select them both and hit F9. So they're easy eased, and basically we just have these lines appearing out of nowhere. Just like that. And I'm going to reduce the size. I think 5 is too large. Make it 3 maybe. And make sure your hardness, brush hardness is 100%. And let's see. Now it looks better. Alright, now that we've done this, we're going to go on the start down here. We're going to go in the beginning of our timeline and we're going to set the start to 100. Turn on the keyframe, the stopwatch, I keep saying keyframe. Then we're going to move in around maybe 2 seconds and then make it 0. So essentially we have this, the shape is being drawn like that. And I'm going to hit M on this and then hit U again. There are the keyframes, just grab them both, F9. You want to make sure you easy ease everything, so don't forget. And now we're going to select both of these like we just did, and we're going to go into Graph Editor. We just want to make sure that everything is nicely edited, so go to Edit Speed Graph. I just right clicked here. This is the speed. You can see it's really gradual, and we want to kind of add a spice to it. So I'm going to select this little guy. I'm going to get the handle. I'm going to add to the curve. So remember the slide theory. Basically, this is what we have. So it's something like that. The person is up here. He slides down really quickly. It's like really slow here, and it ends slow as well. You can even increase it. Let me see that again. You can change. All right, now I think I'm happy with that. So it's quick here, and then in the end, it slows down, which creates this fancy effect that I'm going to keep. Click on this again, so we're out of the graph editor. And so far, this is what we have. All right, I am seeing some sort of issue with these. You can get the pen tool and just go on the mask layer. This is mask 1. You can tell from the color. This is yellow, that's yellow. Just gonna go on this, hit G. I'm gonna delete a few of these extra ones. I don't know if you guys can see there's like a disturb just lines that aren't straight. Just gonna delete the extra ones. Gonna first see where the turbulence starts. See one from here, delete that. Delete this. Because this is auto trace, After Effects might kind of mess up the tracing, but that's okay because we can always just come back and change a few things. And remember, the less points, the more stiff and straight the shape is going to be. So if you see that your shape is kind of not perfect, you just have to delete those extra lines. You can see it's straight. When there's like multiple points, it's getting curved. Delete everything. Let me delete this guy. Zoom out, see how it's looking. Got some extra ones here. Because we're dealing with straight lines, I think this is enough. So instead of this, we have 3 lines. And you just have to do this with all the other ones. And we're going to do it now because we're going to be pre-composing and the trace isn't going to be there. So this is a great time to just fix it up, or the first time that you auto trace your shape. And this is just going to get rid of those wobbly lines that we had when we added the stroke effect. You probably noticed. So I'm just going to delete everything and just leave 4 points because it's not a complicated shape. It's just a rectangle. And yeah. So I'm going to turn these two into this and then I'll be back so we can continue. Alright, so I did that, and now if we play this back, you can see it's a lot more smoother. And I did want to mention something else. If you are going on one of the masks, I'm going to go on this blue one, and you see that you cannot get these, you're having trouble getting these singular lines. Just click anywhere on the line to make a new point. Then you're going to have access to each of the separate ones. I'm going to long click on the pen tool and get this Convert Vertex tool. And just make a click on each of the corners, and what's this going to do is that it's going to remove the curves from each of those points, and then you're not going to have, you can see I made that into a curve. Just go over the ones that have curves. Okay, these guys don't. And let's see, hit G, long click. I want to access the individual lines. Long click, and I just want to make sure I'm not getting curved corners because that's not going to look good. Go on mask 1, again get the pen tool, create a random point, delete that, long click, convert vertex tool. Just going to check this one last time. Alright, so now we have straight lines. Play this back, we have smooth lines, which we didn't before. Alright, okay, now that we've done this, we're going to duplicate our shape layer. Let me hit U and have a look at the keyframes for a second. Alright. Hit, close that. Control D, we're going to duplicate it twice. Control or Command D, twice. So I'm going to just name this maybe Shape 3. Shape 2 and shape. Alright, we're going to offset these in like a staircase motion. So select the 2 new duplicates, move them in time. Then we're going to select the 3rd one, which is on the top, and offset that a few frames. So basically we're getting 3 separate lines, but we're not seeing the difference because they're all in white. So we're going to change the colors. Turn on the colors, the color palette that we had, and we're going to go on the 2nd one. We're going to change the keep the first one, the one on top, white, and we're going to change the color of the other 2. So just go in fill, not stroke. Close stroke if you need to. Select that shape. You can see we have fill, and just select the eyedropper because we have colors here. Let's choose this blue. And then the one below it, again, do the same, get the eyedropper tool, let's get something like this. So essentially we're making 3 lines. And oops, I actually forgot to do it for the stroke, not for the fill. Turn this back to white. Alright, the stroke. Get that. Second color, open up stroke. I believe this dark blue was it. And basically we have this. Looks cool. Turn off the colors. Let's have a look at it again. Get this cool tracing effect. You can add as many colors as you want. You can maybe add another one. I guess I'll do that. Control D on the last one. Remember, the first one has to be white. Grab all 3 and just kind of do that. Right. And I think this is the one without... Oh, okay, this one is the one without the color. Bring the palette back on. And let's choose maybe this dark blue color. Play it back, see how it looks. So now we have like 3 colors. And again, you can add as many or as little as you want. Get rid of that. And now that we have this, we're going to again duplicate this. Let's go on the last layer, Control D. So we have shape 4. And let me just call this shape 1 so we can know the difference. Shape 4, name this no stroke. So shape 4, no stroke. We're going to delete the stroke because there's no stroke. Delete that. Now we get this white shape. Now we're going to change the fill into any color you want. So grab this guy again. Let's go for this purple or a dark blue, can't really tell. And just select all mask. There we are. Actually, let's not do that. So we just have this guy. You can still see the stroke in the background. Alright, so we're going to just change the fill color like we did, and we're going to add another effect called radial wipe down here, the last one. Drag it onto shape 4, no stroke. Now, like the name says, it's going to like wipe a certain color onto this. So change the wipe. You can change it to clockwise or counterclockwise. And then we can change the center. Let's bring it like here. You can choose anything you want. And we're going to set a keyframe for this. So just go in the beginning. Transition, we're going to add to this certain amount. See, 20. Turn on the stopwatch. Then go to 0. So essentially this is all we have, although for the start I'm thinking we should from the center, so we need to just change this into corner maybe. Let's try this. So we have something like that. If we slow this down, we can exactly see what's happening. We create a space and see if I'm happy with that. Alright, I am. Bring this back, as always. Select both, F9. And we're going to do the same thing with the graph editor. So just go in, well, and also make sure your start angle is 0 degrees. Hit on this, and again, make sure you are on speed graph, not value graph. Grab the end until you see the handles. And we're just going to do the same thing we did, which is to kind of make it really fast in the beginning and then slow and gradual near the end. So that's what it looks like. Close that, and we're going to just offset this after the stroke. So hit M on that. Let's see where the stroke ends. I believe here. Yeah, it's about here. So essentially, it should start after the, yeah, there we are. Also, I think my shape is a little smaller than the stroke shape. I'll fix that later. We just have to make sure it's the same size. So we got the stroke. Here comes the wipe. And again, you can duplicate the wipe layer and just add on a couple different colors. So I can Control D on this. We're going to choose, maybe we're running out of colors, but you can just choose something else. Let's go for this blue, maybe. Offset this by a few frames. And for the last one, we made 4 shapes, 4 colors. So let's make like 3 for this. Optional. Go here, get the eyedropper tool. Let's choose another color. Guess I'll go with this. So basically, we have the stroke, then comes the 3 wipes, which looks cool. And if you bring them in closer, they're going to appear at around the same time. So it's going to be like this. So it's like back to back. Just play around with these and see what works well for you. I'm just going to fix a few things just so that the layers match up. Then I'll be back so we can continue. Alright, so I did some adjustments and this is what we have. The stroke and then the fill. And then for the final color, I'm going to duplicate this one more time. The layer that has the no stroke. Control D, and we're going to make this white. So that's my final color. I want it to be white. Again, offset this so the finished product is going to be white. Here we are, different colors, and it's going to remain white. Alright, we are going to turn off the colors. Won't be needing that. And let's see what we can do. I'm going to kind of make the rest disappear, so select everything. Control Shift D, delete the rest. So that we have this effect. I'm going to make the last one come in a bit. So it follows it completely and then it disappears. I'm gonna hit T on this. I'm only doing this because I saw traces behind the white shape and I don't want them to be that long. So just getting a opacity keyframe, F9, copy those. Hit M on this guy, so we close it. Come down here maybe, select all the layers, hit T and Control V, or Command V. Then move it to where it ends. Basically, I'm going to hit M again to close it. What we have is that it's going to do everything, and then the extra things are going to slowly fade away. I don't know if you noticed, but there's like some leftovers here, but then they fade away and we're left with just white. So that's definitely something you need to do. Change this to fit, and we could also do an additional thing for the final logo. So just go on this. Let's call this final. On the final layer, which is white, we're going to just go after the things finish around here. Hit S on your keyboard. Turn on the stopwatch 100. Move in a few frames. Bring it a little higher, a little bigger. And then we're going to bring it back to the number that it was, 100. Hit F9 on your keyboard, and basically we're just saying like, hey, I'm here. You can go into Graph Editor and kind of just slow things down a little, or make it like the end, something like that. You can do the same thing for the other side. So we have this. It's a lot smoother when you come in the Graph Editor. And basically this curve is going to be your favorite because it's really, it's what makes that really smooth animation, and time-wise, it's going to look a lot more cooler. As we see here, instead of just it's slowly getting bigger and at the same rate it's going to get smaller, now it's kind of like a heartbeat movement. This is optional, you can skip this. And alright, so this was it for the shape. Now we're going to get to the text. I'm going to hit M to close that. And we just have a lot of text, have a lot of shapes. I'm just going to pre-compose all of these, select them all. Pre-compose, let's call this shape animated. Hit OK. So if we wanted to come back and change it, just double click and we still have the animation. The black just means that it's transparent. Don't worry about that. And this way it just looks a lot more tidy. And now we're just going to work with the text. So I'm going to first determine when I want the text to show up. And I want it to come in after this. So we had a little heartbeat motion. And in the text, I'm going to actually, let me turn this off for a second. I'm going to type in something, and that way we can add some positions, add some animations that are unique to text layers, not shape layers. So I'm just going to click somewhere, and I believe this font is Montserrat. I think that's how you say it. Black for the first part. Make the text black. It's a little too big. And in all caps, just click this. We're going to write creative. Control A, make it smaller. Try to get the same size. Be a little bit bigger. There we are. Creative space, and then we're going to change. Let's first write it. Design, select design, and below the font name, it's the style. I believe this is like thin. Or maybe light. I think it's light. So we have this, and I'm just going to hold down, click away first, go back on this with V, and we're going to hold down Control and just double click so we have a centered anchor point. I'm going to try to get them in the right spot. And there we are. Get my Align tab and just center it vertically so it's below our shape. We can do the same thing with this. This one's already in the center. Alright, so we have the text. I'm going to delete this, we won't need it for now. And we're just going to kind of make this appear in a bubbly manner. Doesn't really look like the text, but we're just going to do what we think is right. You can actually change the font. Let's get a fun thing, because this is cuter. Make this, oh, we don't have a style for that. Let's choose something else. I do like this dude. I think one of my favorite fonts. Make this a little bigger. Grab creative, and we're going to give it bold. So this is more likely to be bubbly compared to the previous font, which is why we did that. Align it in the middle, and we're going to fix the anchor point again. So go on this, Control, double click, centered, just like that. But I feel like the shape is not exactly in the center. I'm going to Control R, and using my text, I'm going to put a ruler in the center. Yeah, the shape is not centered, so just simply move this a bit to the right. This does not disturb the animations, by the way. Just move it. As long as you don't have a position stopwatch turned on, you're good to go. Control R again to get rid of that. And now I'm going to turn off my shape layer. We're going to be working with the text. Close these panels. I need that. So what we're going to do is to get the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to click away first. We're going to make a rectangle underneath the text. Alright, get the rectangle tool. Color is not important, just try to make it underneath the shape. I'm going to use my arrow keys to just make sure it fills the frame side by side. And also it's not like eating away the bottom of my letters. There we are. So now we're going to drag this dude. Let's call this shape. I'm going to drag this underneath the text layers. Just bring this underneath creative design, which is the name that the logo had. And the logo is designed by Freepik. Forgot to mention that. You can write anything you want here. And we're going to add another effect, which is, let's get our effects and presets. It's called matte, set matte. Got the A. It's called set matte in channel. And we're just going to drag this onto the text layer. Alright, so we have 2 of these. We're going to go to take matte from layer, turn this into shape. Not shape animated, just shape. And we're going to invert the map. Just like that. Alright, so basically we just kind of connected these 2 together. And now we're going to just go in text, open it up, get the animate, then we're going to add a position. And we wanted to bring it below the shape, so just go in position, go for the Y value, and just bring it below, behind the shape basically. And then we're going to go in range selector 1, open that up, and go in the beginning of your keyframe. Turn on offset, move in a few frames, and just make that 100%. F9 those keyframes. Basically, it's going to come up in this manner. You can see it's like kind of a typewriter look, which is what we're going for. Again, select both keyframes. After you hit F9, go to Graph Editor. Now what happens when you don't hit F9 before you come here is that it's going to look like a weird, in a shape like this, it's going to be a right angle instead of this curve. And that's not going to be cool. So just drag the handle, bring it up like this. So we have the familiar shape. And this is just going to make things a lot more smoother. There we are. Close that off. If you want it to be slower, which I do, I'm going to stretch the time between the 2 keyframes. So we have this, and you can see it starts really fast because of our slide. And here, just think that this is the opposite. Like the person's here, it's going to really make his way down fast. But if it was going to go on this slide, it's going to be kind of slow and just gradual until the end. So that's the logic we're using. So goes down the slide fast, slows down. Alright, and then we're going to go down here. We're still in the range selector under animator 1, and we're going to go in the advanced tab. We're going to change the shape into, instead of a square, ramp up. It's going to make things a lot more smoother. And then again down here, up here, we're going to add another animation. Right click, we're going to go for rotation. Beginning of the timeline, and we're going to go in the range selector of, alright, let's delete this. We want this to be a separate animator. Close that up. Add rotation. Now we have animator 2. Again, we have range selector. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did. So again, we're going to choose 0, offset 0 in the beginning of the timeline. Turn on the stopwatch. come into where you stopped, then 100. Select both keyframes, F9, and let's just make that curve. Don't go below, stay within the line. And yeah, so basically, this is going to appear like that. And I actually forgot to add an angle. Go in rotation and add an angle. That's the whole point of the rotation keyframe. Let's go for 7 degrees. See how that looks. So you can see it has like a slight angle and just makes it more fun. Maybe 7 is too much. Let's go for 3. I'm going to undo the shape that I did. It's going to be this. Just playing around and seeing what works best for me. Let's bring this here. Play around with the keyframes until you're happy with the way they look. Let's add, perhaps we should go higher. Alright, we have this. I'm going to just get my text layer in position in animator 1. Bring this below. Let's go into beginning. See, it's not exactly below. Just bring this guy down. So it's going to be like this. Still have a little bit of the sea left. Let's bring it up here. There we are. So it's a little fun animation. You can get any animation that you want. Let's turn this off. We don't need the shape, as in the visibility. It's going to be like that. Creative design. Hit U on your text layer. And I'm going to just make this a little faster. I feel like it's too slow. Okay, that's too fast. Gotta see what works best. Alright, that's good. Close that. Set this to fit. Bring back our shape. And we know that we want the text to appear after the animation is complete. So that would be here. Bring this somewhere here. So after the animation's done, it's going to be like creative design. I also want it to be white, so get fill on the effects and presets, drop it onto your, although it's a text layer, I could just go in T. Change the text to white. We can make the first color, let's get our color palette. Make the first color this, try this dark blue. No, I think I'll keep both of them white. Alright, let's close that off. And this was our first style. Let's have a look at what we did. So this is a fun little logo motion that you can do for your brand. See, we used really simple effects, and because the shape is flat, this is going to be the I guess easiest creative logo motion that you can do. Of course, you can use the simple techniques we've learned so far, like trim paths, or maybe the regular transform option, so you can make it appear out of nowhere, and just make some decorations on the surrounding. But we're going to go over even more logo motions, so it's not just this. And I'm still going to use the same logo, so it won't be confusing. We're going to use this one logo. This was a flat logo motion. We're going to also do a somewhat 3D effect with the same logo. So you can just have options when you're going to apply what you learned in this lesson to your own styles. Right. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson where we go over the 3D style. I'll see you guys there.